Hi everyone, this is Miss Michaela, and in this video I am going to read the chapters The Trip and the F-14s. Oh shit, says Margie's dad. They've occupied the US Embassy. Who's they? Who do you think? The fundamentalist students have taken the Americans hostage. Really? They call it a nest of spies. Ha, you'd think it was a James Bond movie. You're not interested? I couldn't care less. Anyway, the Americans are dummies. Maybe, but now no one can go to the United States. Why's that? Think about it. No embassy, no visa. So my great dream went up in smoke. I wouldn't be able to go to the United States. And then she's writing to her friend who had left to go to the United States in the previous chapter. They closed the US Embassy today. I won't be able to come see you. The dream wasn't the USA. It was seeing my friend Cave, who had left to go live in the States a year earlier. And then, some days later, the Ministry of Education has decreed that universities will close at the end of the month. Oh no. The educational system and what is written in school books at all levels are decadent. Everything needs to be revised to ensure that our children are not led astray from the true path of Islam. Of course, of course. That's why we're closing all the universities for a while. Better to have no students at all than to educate future imperialists. Thus, the universities were closed for 2 years. So the Islamic regime is in power now, and they're starting to close the schools. You'll see, soon they're going to force us to wear the veil, and you'll have to trade your car for a camel. God, what a backward policy. A camel? No more university, and I wanted to study chemistry. I wanted to be like Marie Curie. I wanted to be an educated, liberated woman. And if the pursuit of knowledge meant getting cancer, so be it. It's I who discovered the newest radioactive element. And so another dream went up in smoke. Misery, at the age that Marie Curie first went to France to study, I'll probably have 10 children. So Margie and her mother are very, very upset at the things that are happening because now Margie can no longer go to college and she's worried that life is going to be very, very different than what she imagined. One night, your mother's car broke down. We have to pick her up. Mom, Ebby, two bearded guys, two fundamentalist bastards, the bastards, they... Calm down, darling, calm down. What did they do? Mom, they insulted me. They said that women like me should be pushed up against a wall and fucked, and then thrown in the garbage. And that if I don't want that to happen, I should wear the veil. Forget about those morons. Let's go home. That incident made my mother sick for several days. So Margie's mom had this horrible thing happen in the street where these two men came up to her and they yelled at her and told her that she should be wearing the veil or else horrible, horrible things will happen to her. And so she stayed in bed for days because she was so upset about it. Anything I can get you, Mom? And so, to protect women from all the potential rapists, they decreed that wearing the veil was obligatory. And then this man on the TV says, women's hair emanates rays that excite men. That's why women should cover their hair. If in fact it is really more civilized to go without the veil, then animals are more civilized than we are. Incredible. They think all men are perverts. Of course, because they really are perverts. So now the veil is required in Iran. In no time, the way people dressed became an ideological sign. There were two kinds of women, the fundamentalist women and the modern woman. You showed your opposition to the regime by letting a few strands of hair show. There were also two sorts of men, the fundamentalist man who had a beard and a shirt hanging out, and the progressive man who shaved with or without mustache and had their shirt tucked in. Islam is more or less against shaving. But let's be fair. If women faced prison when they refused to wear the veil, it was also forbidden for men to wear neckties, that dreaded symbol of the West. And if women's hair got men excited, the same thing could be said of men's bare arms. And so wearing short-sleeved shirts was also forbidden. There was a kind of justice after all. So there's all these changes being made to what is allowed and what is not allowed in the way that people dress. It wasn't only the government that changed, ordinary people changed too. Look at her. Last year she was wearing a miniskirt, showing off her beefy thighs to the whole neighborhood, and now Madame is wearing a chador. It suits her better, I guess. As for her fundamentalist husband, who drank himself into a stupor every night, now he uses mouthwash every time he utters the word alcohol. And their son says he prays every day. So these people who used to be very different a year ago are now doing everything that the regime tells them. If anyone ever asks you what you do during the day, say you pray, you understand? Okay. At first it was a little hard, but I learned to lie quickly. I pray 5 times a day. Me, 10 or 11 times, sometimes 12. In spite of everything, the spirit of revolution was still in the air. There were some opposition demonstrations. Tomorrow there's going to be a meeting against fundamentalism. I'm coming too. No, it's too dangerous. She's coming too, Margie's mom says. She should start learning to defend her rights as a woman right now. Since the 1979 revolution, I'd grown older. Well, a year older, and Mom had changed. So I went with them. I passed out flyers, and they're chanting, "Guns may shoot and knives may carve, but we won't wear your silly scarves." When suddenly things got nasty, and these men come in and they say, "The scarf or a beating," and they're holding clubs. For the first time in my life, I saw violence with my own eyes. So this is the first time her mom allowed her to come with to a demonstration, and she sees a lot of violence happening. That was our last demonstration. "Every man for himself," her dad yells. So after this, they did not go to another demonstration because of what happened when they went. Things got worse from one day to the next. In September 1980, my parents abruptly planned a vacation. I think they realized that soon such things would no longer be possible. As it happened, they were right, and so we went to Italy and Spain for 3 weeks. It was wonderful. Right before going back in the hotel room in Madrid, look at this. The TV showed a map of Iran and a black cloud covering the country little by little. What in the world is this? Too bad we don't know Spanish. Maybe they're talking about pollution. You know, Tehran is the 4th most polluted city in the world. It looks like they're talking about the whole country, not just the capital. The next day, my grandmother came to pick us up at the airport. "Grandma, I got you a black dress." She looked worried. "Everything okay, Mom?" "Yes." "Oh, I'm taking this thing off. It's too hot." "It's good to be back. There's no place like home." "True, but soon there'll be no home." "Why do you say that?" "You haven't heard?" "Haven't heard what?" "We're at war." "What?" "They only officially announced it 2 days ago, but really it's been a month. The Iranian fundamentalists tried to stir up the Iraqi Shiite allies against the Saddam. He's been waiting for the chance. He's always wanted to invade Iran, and here's the pretext. It's the second Arab invasion." The second invasion in 1600 years, my blood was boiling. I was ready to defend my country against these Arabs who kept attacking us. I wanted to fight. Alright, now the F-14s. A few days after our trip, and just before I had to go back to school, I went to my father's office. "Type this and make 3 copies." "Okay." Boom. Help. It was the first time I'd seen fighter jets. "Too much, it's our army flying." "I don't think so, those are probably Iraqis." "Why do you say that?" "Because they don't look like our F-14s. It was a tough call, but my dad was an engineer. He was a specialist. Iranian or Iraqi, the jets hugged the ground before suddenly zooming up to the sky, right before the mountains on the horizon. "Quick, the radio." "Here, Dad." "Iraqi MiGs have bombed Tehran." "No, the bastards." "Those assholes," Margie yells. "Let's go home now. Your mother must be terrified." "Dad, do you remember what you learned during your military service? Are you going to war? Are you going to fight? We have to teach the Iraqis a lesson." What are you talking about? Of course I'm not going to fight. Why should I fight? She says, how can you say that? The Iraqis have always been our enemies. They want to invade us. And worse, they drive like maniacs. The Arabs never liked the Persians. Everyone knows that. They attacked us 1400 years ago. They forced their religion on us. Okay, enough of that. The real Islamic invasion has come from our own government. Taji, Mom. Taji, darling. The Iraqis bombed us. Really? When? Just now. Well, I guess I should dry off. War always takes you by surprise. So now Margie's country is in war. And she's yelling, we have to bomb Baghdad. Take your feet off the table, it's impolite. Bomb Baghdad? You need pilots for that. After the generals blew their chance at a coup d'etat, they were all jailed or executed. What's this about? Coup d'etat? Pilots in jail? What pilots? I knew fighter pilots. My friend Perdice's father was one. She never told me her father was in prison, although last year she didn't come to school for a whole month. That bastard Saddam waited until we were weak before attacking. Pardice Entezami's dad is a fighter pilot. He's going to bomb Baghdad. Entezami, he was one of the first condemned. First, he has to get out of prison. I'm going to my room, she says. So this friend of hers, her dad was a pilot, and she finds out here that he was one of the first ones to go to prison. It's the pits. My dad is a defeatist. He's no patriot. So she's disappointed in her dad. Suddenly, I heard the Iranian national anthem coming from the TV, Our Star-Spangled Banner. O Iran, our golden country, your land is the wellspring of art. It had been forbidden and replaced by the new government's Islamic hymn. It had been more than a year since we'd heard it. Let the evil thoughts of your enemies be far from you. We were overwhelmed. Welcome to the 8 o'clock news. 140 Iranian F-14s carried out bombing raids in Baghdad tonight. Well, there's your proof that our army is still strong, Margie says. You can't always believe what they say. 8 o'clock, the BBC is broadcasting too. Where's the radio? You don't believe anything. Here's the radio. So he doesn't automatically believe what the TV says, and he wants to see what the BBC has to say about it. 140 Iranian bombers attacked Baghdad today. Ha! How's that feel, Saddam? We got them where it hurts, so it is true it did actually happen. I was all wrong about Dad. He loved his country as much as I did. President Benazadar has ordered the release of the military pilots jailed after the failed coup. They agreed to attack Iraq if the government broadcasts the national anthem. As usual, my dad was right. The rest of the news wasn't so cool. Iranian losses were very heavy. Half of the planes in the mission have not returned. So one of those people, one of the pilots, was her friend's dad, and she says, I hope that he's not dead. Call her. I don't have her number. I had to wait 2 weeks to find out. Hi, Pardice. I knew right away, but I didn't dare ask. In class, the teacher asked us to write a report about the war. It's a difficult subject, but it concerns us all. Think about it carefully. I didn't need to do much thinking. I knew all about the war. You know what you're going to say? Totally. I wrote 4 pages on the historical context entitled The Arab Conquest and Our War. I was very proud of myself. This war is the same as the one 1400 years ago, but the teacher didn't seem too impressed. That's pretty good. Now, Pardice, come to the blackboard. Her report was by far the best. It was a letter to her father in which she promised to take care of her mother and little brother. Rest in peace, Dad. At recess, I tried to console her. Your father acted like a genuine hero. You should be proud of him. I wish he were alive and in jail, rather than dead and a hero. Those were her exact words to me.